2-1 defeat here at Sevenoaks for Kingstonian in the FA Cup. Lee, disappointing result and a disappointing performance to go with it as well.
Yeah, both disappointments on both fronts. We just lacked a little bit of intensity throughout the game. I felt like we had a bit of control over the 90 minutes, or quite a lot of it, but that had quite a lot to do with the time that they scored in both halves. And they conceded possession, and they were nice and patient and blocked the middle of the pitch out. But we didn't play enough tempo and enough energy to cause them that many problems in open play. I still think we had a good few chances to obviously score more goals. But at the moment, we're just struggling in the final third, because as you can see, that we had a couple in the first half, a couple of good chances. I think Kieran had one in the first half, he had another one in the second half. Had a couple of deliveries from free kicks where they go across the face of goal. And then, unfortunately, you cannot legislate for the 2 goals that we conceded, which are not what we're kind of labelled with. We've based our good performances of late and being unbeaten on being hard to beat and not allowing opposition soft goals. But today we conceded 2 massively poor goals on our part. And if you don't concede those goals, then it would have been a different story. But we conceded those, and we were a little bit toothless in the final third again.
Yeah, I mean, you've answered a lot of what I'd have asked there, to be honest, but it did feel like a big difference was certainly the quality in the final third, because even though, you say it was poor defensively for their 2 goals, it's also, really decent quality from Ryan Gumlow to score those 2 goals as well. Was that the difference, basically, in between the 2 sides at the end?
Yeah, no, Ryan Gumlow is obviously a quality player, and shouldn't be playing at the level. He should be playing a lot higher. But all the boys knew exactly what they were facing. It's still just the goals are extremely poor.
Yeah.
And we should have dealt a lot better with those. But take nothing away from Gondo. He took his goals brilliantly. But we just lacked loads of energy and, like you say, a bit of quality and just a little bit of tempo in the final third, where we had loads of territory. We just couldn't unlock them. Not a real desire to go and score a goal, and that's the most disappointing thing, because again, on another day we got into so many good areas and loads of set pieces, and it's just whether it's personnel or it's a little bit of desire, we're just lacking in those areas at the moment.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of being disappointed with the defence, but like you said, that is what we've kind of built the unbeaten start to the season on. So are you less worried about that in some ways, because that feels a bit more of an aberration, whereas struggling in the final third, that's been a bit of a theme in a few of the games this season?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it is a little bit of a less worry. We have more of a worry at the top end of the pitch. But in any game of football, if you concede the goals that you concede at the times that you concede them, you put pressure on your front players at the same time. So we have to look at both areas. And it just enabled the opposition to defend differently, from the first 20 minutes, half hour before they scored their first. The game was a little bit more stretched, it was a little bit more open, we had a little bit more joy, and then they scored a goal and they see out the game until half time, and then you're on the front foot second half without really penetrating them, and then they score again with a little bit of a sucker punch, and it takes the life out of you. And that's why we need to be, again, more efficient at the top end of the pitch, but definitely we needed to be more efficient at the back end of the pitch and not concede the goals that we conceded. But you can't take anything away from the opposition. They're a good side. They set up well. They look like they're well coached. But I feel like our dressing room lost the game today, and that was just with a lack of energy. It felt like we were winning 3-0 with the energy and the tempo that we're playing at, and that's unacceptable. And when we're making changes in the final third, we're still not showing enough energy. We're still not showing enough willingness to get in the box or get down the sides and get crosses in the box. Everything's just a little bit pretty at the moment, and we're not about being pretty. We're here to win games of football.
What do you put that mindset down to? You know, has the team turned up expecting to win today, or is it you just can't legislate for, you know, you get on the pitch and that's what happens? Like, how do you explain, because, you know, the mindset and the attitude of the players hasn't been like that at all in the previous games this season, so what was different today that led to that?
Yeah, not too sure. It's obviously a little bit emotional about it at the moment. It's difficult to put your finger on it. We'll watch it back and we'll kind of analyse it. But it just felt like that the game at times today was a little bit too easy for them. The opposition dropped off, and we just and when teams do that, you have to play with tempo still. If you don't play with tempo, it's difficult to disrupt the structure of the opposition. And too many times today we got forced down dead ends, where the ball turned over, and then we're defending, and yeah, we just weren't ruthless enough and didn't play with enough tempo when we needed to. We didn't go through the gears, which you have to, and we just plodded along in second gear today, which is a frustrating thing because you don't get a second chance in the FA Cup. And if we'd got out of it with a 2-2 draw today, it would have been a little bit unjust, to be honest. I didn't think we deserved anything from it, although we had chances to score 4 or 5 goals. But yeah, credit to the opposition. They ran their absolute socks off. You see at the end they were all shattered as they defended for their lives. But yeah, not good enough on our part today.
And just briefly away from today's game, there was obviously the news yesterday about Rob Tolfrey being out for the foreseeable. What's the kind of prognosis on that, timeline-wise, and are you happy with Mac as kind of the kind of long-term standard for Rob at this stage?
Yeah, Mac done obviously well when he came on last week for Rob, and today he didn't have so much to do. I think he had a couple of saves to make, but other than that he didn't have much to do. So yeah, we're happy at the moment. We won't kind of be forced into making drastic decisions at the moment, you know. Rob is, yeah, we need to let it settle down a little bit more. He's got a fracture in there, but I think he's got like an old fracture that may have opened up again, that he didn't know nothing about. So the timeline may be a little bit less if it was a new fracture, so that's a positive. But I think we'll just have to take it a week-to-week basis at the moment, and hopefully 4 or 5 weeks we see where he is, and he could be close.
Okay, great. Well, unlucky today. We'll see you next week.
Cheers. Thank you.